Well, probably the biggest news and the most unwelcome news for some time. It's been announced that Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed from its already delayed release date of 26th of May 2026 to the 19th of November 2026, thankfully. We actually have this supporter question straight off the bat here from the Shadow Map. Greetings, Digital Foundry. There are 4,550... No, 458,784,000 frames in between GTA 6 between its old release date and its new release date. What do you think Rockstar plans to accomplish in this many frames before launch? I actually did the maths on this, and I think his calculation is based on the idea that it's we operate all at 30 frames per second. I actually counted 916,650,432 frames at the NTSC standard 59.94 FPS. But John, lots of frames, lots of time. What do you think's going on here? I think basically it is kind of like all about polish, all about making this thing absolutely right. It can't go wrong in any way, shape, or form.
I feel like there's multiple potential issues happening here. Obviously, polishing it up is important. Whether or not they could hit that original May date, probably up in the air now. I bet they possibly still could, but it's riskier. And so it makes sense to delay it further to ensure that it does release in a good shape, because no matter how they get there, they have to get to the finish line with a very polished product.
Right.
Which,
yeah.
It's a little bit funny because you look at the past of GTA, and there was a time when they were among the least polished games released on consoles. Just absolute technical messes.
Yeah,
and people loved it anyway. But they've been elevated to this status as such that people expect the absolute best now. And this will be the first time those expectations apply to a GTA game. It kind of started with Red Dead Redemption 2, kind of knocking our socks off, right? Because even GTA 5 in its original form, it was PS360. It didn't run that well.
Right.
But it didn't matter. The game was awesome regardless, but it wasn't that smooth. I mean, it looked great, but it didn't run all that well. And GTA 4, as Alex covered recently, especially on PC, was a train wreck.
Yeah.
So I think, if they can achieve what they set out to achieve here, this will be the most polished GTA game at launch by far. And I do hope they can get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just looking at the comments here from Take-Two. Strauss Zelnick saying, when we set a date, we really do believe in it. We said when we set the last date, if a game requires more polish to be the best possible version of itself, then we will give that game more time. And that's exactly what happened. We feel good about this release date. It's in the same fiscal year, happens to be a great release window, and naturally we're really supportive of Rockstar's support. I'm just reading this from Video Games Chronicle, by the way. During a Q&A in an investor call following the announcement, Zelnick was asked what drove the decision to delay the game for a second time. The drivers were a desire to deliver as perfect an entertainment experience as we possibly can and try to live up to consumers' extraordinary expectations and then exceed those expectations. It's always painful when we move a date. We have done so occasionally in the past, and we've never regretted it in retrospect. I'd like to point out that we have some competitors where more polish was required and required slipping a date. They chose not to slip the date, and they did so at their peril. Alex, thoughts?
Wow. The thing that I've been thinking about is actually addressable market for GTA 6 as of late. We were just talking about GTA 5, a very not as polished game as probably as Red Dead 2, or this will be when it releases. But it hit in it. I was looking at this old article from IGN, and in 2013, there was something around 77 or 76 million PS3s and Xbox 360s for each of them. So 150 million consoles by that point that they released to. Now, 2025, you got 80 million PS5s and a combination of almost 30 million Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, a little less than that actually. They're going to be releasing a game that was much more expensive, that took so much longer to make, to a much smaller market. And I'm just really wondering about the financials of this release. If they expect everyone to just buy a PS5 as soon as it releases to make up costs? Do they now raise the cost of the game itself? Do they presume they make enough over time to a smaller market? It is, I don't know. I've been thinking about like if them delaying the game means they're going to, I don't want to say bring out the PC version earlier or something like that, but if you're putting more time into a game's development and more money, you have to make that back at some point in time. And I'm just wondering, how do they bridge this gap with such a long development, but a smaller market than they had in the past for these type of games? So I don't know.
I think there's a couple of answers to that. First of all, yes, they can increase the the asking price. I mean, there's a lot of talk about the $80 game and whether this is actually going to bust that. Secondly, I think that they're just going to sell a lot more of them than they did for GTA 5 in that initial period. And thirdly, I think it's going to be one of these games where, you know what's going to happen here. What is currently GTA 5 online, which is still selling a huge amount of copies, I think 5 million in the last year. Came up. That will transition to GTA 6 online. So they're not looking at this as purely a launch endeavor. It's going to be across a very, very long extended life cycle for this particular game. It's kind of got to be right. But yes, I get what you're saying in that the initial launch is going to be to a fewer number of consoles. That kind of is not great, is it? Points more towards the state of the market, really, doesn't it, overall? But I think they're in a pretty good position compared to pretty much anybody else in that they're going to sell so many of these things that it's probably less of an issue.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I guess you're technically right when you consider, so GTA 5 launched on PS3 and 360 initially, right? But the PS3 has only sold 87.4 million units worldwide as of now, or so, right? And the PS5 is already over 80 million. So at the time when GTA 5 launched, I would assume that PS3, PS5 are similar in terms of the installed base. And the outlier here then would be Xbox, as Xbox 360 would have been far ahead of where Xbox Series is right now.
Yeah,
right.
But it's a fairly significant install base. I don't know what it was. I don't know what PS4 and Xbox One were at when Red Dead 2 launched, but I'm sure it was fairly similar. PS4 might have been a little bit ahead, but it feels like this is a good time for them to strike either way. And I mean, this is the kind of thing that moves consoles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think the install base will have any real negative impact on it. And as we know, they're going to continue to release this game for like multiple generations.
Right.
Mark my words on this. We're going to be seeing this as long as consoles exist and the PC's going. There's going to be versions. And even though it's annoying that they stagger out releases sometimes, they are good at one, sort of like rebuilding the excitement each time. Like when this comes to PC, it's going to be an event again. And I have to give them credit with GTA 5. Like, look at how much they've updated that on PC. Like the state where it is now is so far beyond where it was when it launched. And that also, I think, helps drive sales because they support it well.
Yeah.
And this is something CD Projekt Red also obviously did, though. I mean, they launched Cyberpunk in a bad state, but they've continued to support that game. They did not give it up. I mean, and it's crazy how much better it is right now compared to a launch. And I think that's for these big selling games, you've got to get that support there now. And Rockstar knows that. So one other thing I was thinking about recently is we're just coming up on like a year of the PS5 Professional.
Right.
And there haven't been that many games where developers could say, hey, check out the PS5 Pro version. This is like the best way to play.
Right.
GTA 6 might be one of those games where they could potentially really go hard on that and make a more compelling case for it than anything we've seen yet. Because I think people are going to be willing to pony up for GTA.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a lot of people. I don't know how many people. There's going to be some people for sure that want this game that don't own any of the consoles, right? There's people still on PS4 possibly playing GTA 5 online. And then they're like, oh shoot, GTA 6 is coming out. I got to get this. And they're going to go and look at the console options available. And, there is that thing where you see, like, here's the highest end model. It does cost more. Maybe I can justify it. They're doing that mental math. And if it's sold the right way, if it's good enough, it could be the kind of thing that helps push it a little bit. Because right now, PS5 Pro seems to be tracking below where the PS4 Pro was. Largely, I would imagine, due to the function of the price. But yeah. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see what happens there too.
Yeah, I also think that, that this game is so big, there's going to be a whole bunch of people out there who just want to get the best possible experience and will pay any amount of money to do it. So if they, let's say they've got a, even a Series X or a PlayStation 5, they might think, right, okay, this is the game. I want the experience, the best possible experience. So let's go for it. I guess the other thing, of course, which is pretty good, is that, if we're now moving to the end of 2026, I can't see any reason why the Pro version wouldn't have FSR4 support. Because it's been promised for next year, and this is coming out at the tail end of next year. So unless there is a particularly good reason not to use it, it should look better than the other versions simply by virtue of that.
Image quality.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on there for sure.
And this is obviously a heavy game for ray tracing, as we've seen from the trailers, right? I don't think that's enough to get it to 60 because of CPU limitations, but that remains to be seen. We'll see. But this could indeed mean like significantly higher image quality if they can leverage the extra GPU muscle of the Pro, doing the same ray tracing effects, but with much a beefier GPU that could allow them to really push image quality up quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, what can we say? I'm going to assume that there's going to need to be some sort of more marketing material emerging at some point, a new trailer or whatever. I seem to recall there was a trailer in close proximity to the last delay, but maybe not this time. But we're certainly going to be tracking the various GTA news that emerges as we close in on 19th of November 2026, a whole year basically, and a bit.